Okay, so I am Karen Yankovic, and this is Make $1,000 Today, the video series that literally got conjured out of thin air about a week and a half ago that has really taken off. I'm getting a lot of really good feedback. My gosh, people are telling me all these great ideas they're having. And I wanted to have Dan with me today because Dan saw one of my videos last week and he called me like on the phone, this thing here. Remember this thing here that I'm telling you guys to use? He literally called me on the phone and said, "Oh my gosh, that was so fun." So I said, and I love that. And when I saw his LinkedIn profile, I said, maybe you need to come on and do a video. So that is the extent of our relationship. Other than reading his LinkedIn profile and checking him out on social media and talking to him for about 30 seconds before this, Dan, I have not met before. So I'm going to let him introduce himself to you. But before I do that, let me just set the stage for this. What we're doing in these short videos is just thinking outside of the box and creating ways that we can create income for ourselves. And while we're maybe self-quarantined, while maybe we have a little extra time, maybe while we don't have any time and we have to get a little bit more creative because we're homeschooling our kids and working from home and doing a million things, right? So I have no end of creative ideas to do this, but I love that I have so many people in my network that also do because I learn so much from them. So I'm hoping that Dan is going to be one of those people. So Dan, thanks for being here. Can you introduce yourself a little bit to our audience?
Absolutely. And that was awesome. I'm telling you, the reason why I called you, and because I just got so excited when I saw your video is because, yeah, listen, I'm a sales guy. That's what we do. And we help companies grow with sales. But you asked the perfect question, and it's the perfect question of entrepreneurs and salespeople, which is, how can I blank do something? Which is like the total opposite of what the rest of the world is doing. The rest of the world is, why is this happening to me? Why, why am I laid off? Why am I losing this income? Listen, if you ask those questions, those kind of why questions, you'll come up with the answers. But you asked the right question, which is, how can I earn? And so therefore it just blows, it opens up your head and you have nothing but ideas. And the only challenge with that is every time you share an idea with someone, people are just kind of trained to tell you all the reasons. This is the definition, by the way, of an unsuccessful person. Someone who's really good at figuring out all the reasons why something won't work.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Right. Yeah. I mean, listen, I honor all these people that are struggling to figure out what their place is in the world right now. But some of the greatest, I don't remember what the exact quote is, but
I'll remember
adversity
I'll finish it.
Brings creativity or something like that. Right. So you can either get creative and use this shift in your life, whatever that looks like for you, to build something that maybe you've been wanting to build and haven't really had the brain space to do it, or been kicked in the butt to do it a little bit. So tell me a little bit about how you think we could make some money in this crazy new world of ours.
Well, it's exactly what you said. Let me and please understand where I'm coming from. I'm the son of kind of like an immigrant family. These European people, they would come here with nothing, and so that was the environment that I was brought up in. I remember my neighbor, I was with Gary Zisman. He was my neighbor, and I went over and I was talking. We were playing or whatever, and he had to go to the bathroom, or whatever. And his dad, Sal Zisman, came out and started talking to me. And this is what parents did. And he said, "So, Danny, what are you going to do with yourself? How are you going to support a family?" And I looked at him. I'm like, "Mr. Zisman, I'm 11. What do you want from me? But that was the environment that I was brought up in, and so get a trade.
Where did you grow up, Tim? What part of the world did you grow up in?
Well, I was born in Brooklyn, but I was brought up really in a little town called Fair Lawn, New Jersey. And so,
no way. Hold on.
Are we related?
I grew up 10 minutes from there.
From where?
I grew up 10 minutes from there in Bergenfield, New Jersey.
Yeah, you see, that's why I immediately fell in love with you. Is because you have the same type of thing. If we were, if we were together and it wasn't coronavirus, we'd be hugging right now.
Right,
You know,
exactly, exactly. So we understand each other, right? I
yeah.
love that. That's so
So
fun.
that's the environment. And my dad, and so the way you're going to earn money right now is by putting people together and brokering deals. I mean, that's and I learned this from my dad when I was graduating high school. My dad said to me, he was a little French Jewish guy, and so he had this little accent. He didn't give me much, but whenever he would give me some advice, he would start it like this: "It's Danny, in this country," and then he would tell me what's going on. So I was graduating high school, and he says, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'm going to get a job or whatever." And he says, "That's fine." He goes, "Remember this, Danny, in this country, you get a job, you have one customer, and he's called a boss. And if he gets a wild hair up his rear end, decides to fire you, you got nothing. But if you're a salesman, well, then you have 100 bosses, but
Wow.
they're called customers. And if one of them
That was
fires
such
you,
great advice.
if one of them fires you, he says, who cares? You got 99 more." You see,
Wow.
success, financial success doesn't come with, having a job or finding a job. It comes with learning how to earn an income in any environment, in any company, and anytime. And 10 years ago, when the world blew up the last time, I was doing these 2008, 9, and 10. I was doing these speeches for job seekers, and I would tell them, I said, "Listen, guys, 10 years from now, your most important asset is your database of customers and clients and friends and relatives,
Oh my
all
gosh.
that."
Yes.
And so you got to build that up. And the people who heeded that advice back then have 10,000 or 12,000 LinkedIn connections. Their life is much more at peace than the people who didn't heed that advice. And so the first thing is
Well,
say
and
the
I
same
think
thing to that.
I think the video you reached out to me after was the one where I talked about go back and talk to the people that are your existing customers. Like those are the people to reach out to now. See how they're doing. See if there's anything you can do for them. Just from like one of my customers, Ayers, if you're listening, I really appreciated this. He called me last night. Like just called me on the phone last night to check in and see how I was doing. Like that was so nice,
Yes. And now
and it turned out he referred me to someone, and we just had a little conversation.
yeah.
But it was the reach out and talk to someone
Well,
thing, right?
and now you have that feeling of reciprocity where you want to help him.
Yeah.
You're looking for stuff for
Yeah.
Ayers.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Ayers?
Ayers, Ayers. Yeah.
Ayers.
Ayers. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking for stuff. So here's what people can do right away.
Tag him in this. We can see how much I appreciated that call last night.
Yeah. It feels just as good, by the way, to make the call as it does to receive it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. So give us some tips. What could we be doing now to help us?
Quick story. I'll give you an idea. Quick story. I'll tell you exactly what it is. So I have a couple of kids, and I brought my kids up the same way that I was brought up, and so they were always involved in business and doing stuff. So both my kids, they're real little. They're like this. They're raking leaves on someone's yard, and they're paying them $5 to rake leaves. They're doing whatever they're doing, and so I'm there because they're little. And I see my son Matthew talking to the owner of the house. And so at the end, I'm all done. I'm like, well, what's going on? He goes, well, you see the pool over there? It was like a crusty old pool. It had no cover on it. There were cracks in it and all that stuff. And so Matthew went up to the owner of the house and said, you want us to fix the pool for you? And Billy's like, you can fix the pool? He says, yeah. He goes, I know people. Anyway, so he comes in. I said, well, who do you know? He goes, I don't know anybody. Let's get on the phone. So the boy's like 11. So I hopped on the phone. I talked to 3 people. I said, I got a lead for you. If you get the job, will you give us $100? And one of the 3 got the job. And next thing you know, we got $100 in our driveway, in our mailbox. Every single business in the world would do that. And so when I'm
absolutely
the quickest way that you can earn a buck right now is by, people call it affiliate marketing online, but like old school affiliate marketing with all the companies out and about that are needing business right now. Everybody's needing business right now. And you utilize your contacts like you talked before, and you find out what problems people have, what challenges they're going through right now. You know what a challenge people are going through right now? Their LinkedIn page stinks. Do you know anybody that could help them with that?
I might.
So if If someone came to you and said, "Hey, Karen, I got a group of people here. There's about 8 of them. Their LinkedIn page stinks. I think I can get you a bunch of business. If you get anything from them, would you throw me $20?"
Anybody, by the way, anybody that wants to do that, it's a deal.
Uh,
It's a done deal, right? It's a
uh,
done deal. Because here's the deal too. Don't you find this too, Dan? Like many of us are so good at what we do, and we're not as good at sales. And I'm not going to make that a general statement, but I guess I am. If somebody else is dropping business in my lap, I am going to pay them to help me do that all day long. All day long.
Absolutely. And the beautiful part about getting into that mindset of sales and selling is that you welcome change. You look at it as an opportunity. That same boy of mine, Matthew, he's 21 now. And he quit college after one day and he started a junk removal business, and he has this junk that he did through high school. And so now he's running this thing. He's doing well, but nobody wants him at his house anymore to take all the stuff out of the house. So, but he has 2 containers and 2 dumping trailers and things like that. So he changed his whole business model on a dime. He says, I can't come and pick stuff up anymore with all this stuff, but I can rent you the trailer for $185 for 2 days. I'll park it in your driveway. You load it up. I'll take it away. Boom. And he has no employees now. So he's earning just as much as he was during this whole thing, because he's able to adapt and adjust and change. And that's what the mindset of a salesperson does for you. It gives you tons of opportunity. Any change you see opportunity. There's a million more. You know who's working right now? Yeah. So let's see.
Who's working right now?
Industrial parks. They hear all the big stories about, big companies, and they can't hire because they have all the things. But like a company that's doing $2-3 million, they're making, people who make the little wheel on your mouse. There's companies that make little wheels on the mouse. These guys, they're working. They're going in there and they're making their stuff and they're collecting orders. I got one guy who he's a tube bender. He just bends tubes, like he makes handles for things. And he got an order for $1 million. For Clorox to make disinfectant carts. I mean, these little carts, and they need handles. Those guys are working. Those manufacturing places, they have all things that they cut blades with. All those blades need to be sharpened. All this, that there's companies that sharpen blades. You talk to a blade sharpener. He said, "Can I get you some business?" You walk around to these industrial parks. Say, "Hey, listen, we sharpen blades." Boom, and you send to him. Get something on the inside. If there's stuff in your neighborhood, let's say you're walking around. I walk every morning. By the way, are you getting out and walking? You have to do it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it depends on where you are. I mean, honestly, people in New York City are now being told don't even do that. So
you know what?
I'm gonna defer to the people that know what they're doing and not make decisions about that.
Okay. Well, you got to get some exercise.
I get out on my deck. I go out on my deck. I go out.
Don't forget, spring happened. You got to enjoy spring habit. It's the whole idea of growth and everything. So, if you're in the suburbs like I am, you walk around, somebody's driveway is cracked or something like that. You knock on the door, or you print out some flyers and drop them in people's mailboxes. Right. We do this, we do that, we do this. You'll get calls, and then you just call a company that does it and grab something on the inside. And you can do that today.
Exactly. And I love the idea of putting the flyer in the mailbox, because then you're not knocking on doors, wigging people out a little bit. Who's at my door? Put the flyer. Because I got to tell you, we're all sitting home. I'm looking at my yard going, I wonder who I can get to come trim these bushes. Or
that's right.
We're all sitting home looking at things that have been bugging us, right? So find ways to do that. I love that, Dan. Dan, how can people find out more about you?
Well, the best thing you could do for me is you subscribe to my new podcast, which is awesome, by the way. I mean, as good as it gets. It's the Sales Energizer podcast. And and that's something else. You have a podcast too, don't you?
I do. Good Girls Get Rich.
Good Girls Get Rich podcast. You got to go there. I mean, right at this time, this is probably a great time for people to start a podcast. It's one of those things. 10 years from now, everyone's going to have one. So you want to get started now and beat that learning curve. And so the best thing you can do to contact me is subscribe to the podcast, the Sales Energizer podcast. You'll love it. And then I have all sorts of information. It's best right now. It's my best medium for introducing myself and products and all that stuff.
Awesome. I love that. And on this side, I hope you're loving these how to shake some cash out of your business videos. But what I want is like when Dan's son is dropping off these trailers and people are so appreciative of that. At some point, this is going to be over, or somebody might say, I have a bigger job for you. Can we chat about that? I want you to be ready with the yes. Let's talk about that. So I'm doing a weekly live workshop at your5koffer.com. Check that out. I, of course, think that you need to be on LinkedIn and positioned like you're worthy of this business, because now we're not doing a whole lot besides being on our computers and our TVs and our phones. So we're checking you out. Check out. Make sure you check out. So do a great job on your LinkedIn profile. Be ready when people say, I want more from you. I'm here to help you with that at your5koffer.com. Dan's here to help you on the sales end at, say that again, Your Sales Energizer. What's the podcast?
The Sales Energizer podcast. Or just look up my name, Dan Jourdan, on this thing. Have you heard of Google?
All this in there. Sandy's watching. Sandy could put links to all this in there.
Yes.
And if you're interested, by the way, as Dan mentioned, doing a podcast, there's a free podcasting conference going on this weekend. I do believe the videos will be in the group after the weekend. So we'll drop a link, or Sandy, if you could drop a link into the group, the Indie PodCon Facebook group. It's completely free. And some of the best podcast teachers in the world. Jordan Harbinger was there yesterday. I mean, some of the best podcast teachers in the world. Shell Hamilton's going to be there today. Her podcast gets 500,000 downloads a month. Be on this thing, listen to these people, and maybe you'll absorb some stuff, and maybe it is a fun time to start your own podcast, right? All of that starts to position you as an influencer. And that's where I come in. I want you to look worthy of the business that you're putting out there. And things like having a podcast, creating a great LinkedIn profile helps position you to get that business.
By the way, right. I saw that yesterday.
Thanks so much for being here.
I saw that yesterday. You were the best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. At the last minute, I shifted gears and changed my whole presentation. I was like, they don't need more information. They need to learn how to implement some of this stuff. Yeah. So I basically just shifted gears at the last minute of my presentation. It was pretty funny. And anyway, for those of you, by the way, that were watching yesterday, Dan was supposed to be on yesterday. It was completely my fault. Still trying to see how do we get our guests scheduled and organized thing going on the back end here. So thankfully Dan was kind enough to do it again today. If you want to come on, if you've got a great how to make $1,000 today idea, email me at info@KarenYankovich.com. Lauren, I saw your message, so definitely send me an email at info@KarenYankovich.com, and that starts the ball rolling. We can get you on the calendar. I love doing this, so I'll keep doing it as long as you guys keep wanting to watch it. So Dan, thank you so much for being here today.
All right,
go get 'em. Everybody have a good day today.
Take care.